Mike Stallings. I am the owner operator of Capital Distribution. We're a company based here in New Jersey. And for the past 15 years, I've been involved in the plumbing world. And my goal has always been to build a relationship with my customers in the hopes of partnering with them to provide key solutions to, to their customers' needs, whether it's been with plumbers, with property managers, and business owners to help solve their needs, and homeowners as well. And whether it's always been about key solutions. So whether, in the past, whether it was to protect their homes from catastrophic damage, help customers save money, or both, I've always looked to become an asset to you guys and strive to offer real solutions for real problems in today's world, and advising my customers to, you know, on these solutions to help grow their businesses and build trust over the years. Today, we're going to talk about a growing trend here in the world, which is the rising cost of water and sewer, and how you can stay ahead of that curve. So if we go to the first slide here, as you can see here, cost of water and sewer has grown exponentially over the last 10 or so years. You see a graph like this, you hope it's your 401k going up. But unfortunately, this graph is not that. This is the price of water, sewer as compared to other items and how they've increased over time due to inflation and costs. So, as I said, the number has been growing exponentially. As you see there, there's a gray line talking about all items that are average. The cost of food, which of course keeps going up, but you can see where the water sewer rates are, and it's close to 70%. It has risen since 2009. What we've seen in the last 10 years has been a minimum of a 5% increase in the cost of water and sewer every single year. And that really changes things quite a bit, because it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're doing it every single year, the cost today versus 10 years from now for the same usage is going to be about 150 to 160%. So some of the key facts about water and sewer and what's been happening, as I mentioned, about 70% since 2010 versus 20% increase for all other expenses. In commercial properties, they make up 30% of the utility costs. Always in the past, if you owned a property or a business, especially property managers, it was always about electric, and how can we save on electric? Because that was usually even in some cases, 90% of your operating costs. Now, water and sewer is slowly chipping away at that, and it's becoming more and more of an issue. This past year, water costs increased by 4%, sewer 8%. Out of 50 major cities across the United States this past year, 70% of them raised rates. And some of the examples of that, and this is just on a homeowner scale, so you can imagine for a larger property, it's going to be much more. But in Baltimore alone, the average residential water sewer cost went up $26. Portland, Maine, $14. San Francisco, $13. Portland, Oregon, $11. San Jose, $9. Cleveland, $9. So, it doesn't sound like much, but considering the average water sewer bill for a residential home is about $105 a month, we're talking about 10, 15, even 25% increases as opposed to what they paid just the year before. The biggest thing here for anybody who's dealing with commercial properties, whether you're a property manager, an owner, or even a plumber who works on commercial buildings, if your building or your customer's building is spending $10,000 a month on water and sewer, within 10 years, that's going to be about 160% higher. It's going to be $16,000. I'm sorry, 60% higher. $16,000 a year for the same usage. So if nothing changes in the building, today, August 2020, $10,000 a month. August 2030, you're going to be spending about $16,000 a month or more. And this is a trend that's not going away. It's been very consistent for the last 10 years, and we expect it to continue to be the same way, because a lot of these increases are coming because water companies are trying to offset their aging infrastructure. pipes are bursting, things are breaking down. How do they pay for it? And also, people are using less water than they did in the past. In the last 10 to 20 years or so, there's been a lot of water saving products out there that basically, you think back in the past, most of your toilets were 3.5 gallon flushes. Now most are 1.6. Shower heads were 2.5, even there were 3 gallon per minute shower heads. Now you see them even as low as 0.8, 1.2, 1.5, 1.6. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about how many times you flush the toilet a day, how many times you use the shower, you're saying the consumption rate's going way down, and the water companies are losing money because of it. So they have to find a way to offset their, their not only their infrastructure, but also they're collecting less money because of it. So today we're going to talk about a product that can help stay ahead of the curve, and that's the smart valve. Now, essentially what the smart valve does is it will save water, but essentially what it does is it's correcting a mistake that 99% of the water meters out there make, which is they only count volume. They don't distinguish between water and air. Now, this product is available in both residential and commercial sizes from 3/4 inch up to 12 inch. Can be installed both vertically and horizontally, as you can see here. And it's installed on the user side of the meter, after the meter, up the line. Typically, you would have the order going in direction of flow would be water meter, any backflow prevention device, the smart valve, and then any other equipment such as a pressure reducing valve, a booster pump, and so on and so forth. It's double female threaded up to 2 inches, which makes for a fairly easy installation. And then afterwards, it's a flange piece. The other key factor about this product, which we'll get into a little bit later on, is that it's the only externally adjustable valve on the market, meaning even after it's installed, even though there's no maintenance really required on it, it's very much a set it and forget it product. If something changes within your home or the building you're working on, it can be adjusted externally while the water's still on without removing it or doing a shutdown or anything along those lines. So as an example, let's say you have a building, you have 80 PSI coming in, you purchase a smart valve, you get it installed, you set it to the maximum setting. Let's say there's a water main break down the street and your pressure goes from 80 to 40. Now, obviously, because the smart valve is set at a higher level, which I'll touch on a little bit later as well, you have a big pressure drop. So if you're using a competitor's valve, that valve you'd have to shut the building down, remove the valve, put a piece of temporary pipe there, or run it through the bypass, send the valve back to the manufacturer, get it adjusted, get it sent back. With the smart valve, you simply use the simple tool, which we'll get into in a minute as well, readjust it to lower the back pressure and allow the building to function normally. So it's a very important part of this. The main benefits of the smart valve, because it's creating a steady back pressure through the meter, you're going to guarantee that you have a steady stream of water coming through, so the meter never overspins. Essentially, it kind of acts like a toll booth, meaning that anything between it and the meter, meaning the smart valve and the meter, you're going to have a steady pressure. You're not going to get pressure drops. As many people know already, whether you own a home or own a business, you have a steady pressure coming in from the street. Within your home or business, as you open up fixtures and there's a demand for water, the pressure drops. And when there's a drop in pressure, any air present in the line, which there is, expands and becomes pockets of air. Kind of like when you open a soda bottle and you see gas expand and race to the top. It's the same thing going on in your system. So as those pockets of air pass through the meter, they're being counted, and you're being charged for both the water passing through and the pockets of air, because again, 99% of the meters out there don't distinguish between the two. What the smart valve does is it compresses that air, make sure it stays very tiny little bubbles, so when they pass through the meter, they don't register. And you get that clear flow that flows through your meter, and your meter turns normally. And now you're just paying for the water that you're using and not for the pockets of air. and the cavitation. So it's very important, that we distinguish that this, you will see your water sewer bill go down. Most of that is because of what I just mentioned, that, the science behind this, that you're compressing the air, making sure that you have a steady stream, your meter's not overspinning, and that you're also not being charged for any air bubbles, because there aren't going to be any between the smart valve and the meter. Another key point here is that we've had these installed hundreds of feet away from the meter and still gotten great results. So the distance is not so much an issue. You can install it fairly close to the meter or fairly far up the line as well. So because it's going to act as, like I said, it's going to act as that toll booth and make sure that it keeps the pressure between it and the meter at a steady rate. Also, as you see here in this picture here, I just want to point out here in this picture that, if you look in the top left here, you see this is a 2-inch valve, or two 2-inch valves that were installed at a hospital, and it's a fairly simple installation for this. This is double threaded, and just want to point out that they're vertically installed and that it was a fairly simple installation there. It's just really making a space, and boom. And actually, if you go back one here, if you look at this middle picture here with the blue valve, you can see it's a very simple installation. You don't need a lot of space to do, especially on the smaller sizes. So what are some of the key points of the smart valve? Over 70% of our users have saved at least 20% on water and sewer, and over 98% save at least 10%. So, and if you go to the bottom, just from our 2019 results, we sold hundreds of valves last year. Our lowest reported, actually, this is wrong, I apologize, but the lowest usage reported was actually 14%. It wasn't 16%, but it was 14% was the lowest usage reported last year. The highest was 72%, and I'm going to show you that water bill shortly. Our average was around 25% for the year. So most people fall in that 15 to 25% range, which is a very key factor. This is very much a product that is good, great, or extraordinary results. There really is no bad result. Even if you're saving 10%, which would be the lowest we've seen in over a year, you're still going to be saving quite a bit of money, and it's probably going to be a product for you. And we'll kind of get into that as well a little further down the road. As I'd mentioned, it's available in sizes from 3/4 inch up to 12 inch. It's double threaded up to 2 inch, flange install after that. The real selling point, so to speak, of this product is the return on investment. It's a USA made product with a 10-year warranty, 90-day money back guarantee. On a residential side, it's typically 1 to 2 years. On the commercial side, it's usually less than a year. We've had property managers get this installed, and for both the cost of the valve and the installation cost, gotten their money back in 6 months or less. Most commercial properties, it's less than a year, and that's usually at 20%, which is the average. If you save 30% or more, you're looking at a much faster return on investment. So, again, this is most properties, are looking for a 2 to 3 year return on investment to even consider something. For a commercial property, you're looking at less than a year for a return on investment, which is a game changer. We've had, knock on wood, we had no returns of the valve last year. I think these numbers are a little outdated, but I think that the new total is about 10 out of 13 or 14,000 sold you've had returned. It's Massachusetts approved, has both the NSF and ANSI certifications for potable water. As I mentioned before, it is externally adjustable. Also, a key factor, and let me back up to a page here. It can be set, if you look in the top right corner here, it can be set where there's no drop in PSI at all. If you set the valve to the maximum setting, which is a fairly easy thing to do, to actually adjust this, you'll see some pictures. And if you look in the bottom here, you see a picture of the tool used to adjust it in the second picture from the right on the bottom on this slide. But if you focus back on the top right there, you see that there's a valve installed, and we have gauges on both sides of the valve, and the pressure is about exactly the same. So this can be set. If you have a low pressure situation, we can set it to a minimum setting. You'll still get great results. which is also important too. We actually make two different versions of the valve. One is for use in anywhere where the PSI is less than 45, and then we have a second valve for everything else, anything that's higher than that. So we do have two valves because we want to fine tune this. If you're in a low pressure situation, we want to give you the best tool for the job, which would be the low pressure valve, and then there's also your standard valve, which is anything above 45 psi. As I mentioned, it's externally adjustable. It's also a self-lubricating valve. People had questions in the past about, does anything ever clog these up? And we actually had a conversation with a plumber down in Alabama where, he had a lot of residential homes. They were up on the mountains, up on hills, higher elevation, or some even at the bottom of the hills. And when they would get bad thunderstorms, he would say that, a lot of these houses get rocks and debris and things that end up in their water system somehow. And basically, if it's going to get anything that's going to get through the meter is going to get through the smart valve. So just, and knock on wood, we've had no calls about these clogging up or getting jammed or anything like that. So it's because it's got the self lubrication inside of it. As I mentioned before, there's no maintenance or additional work required once it's installed, but it is removable, it is reusable, and it can be adjusted externally anytime down the road in the future. Here's just an example of some of the companies that have utilized the smart valve before. I just want to kind of put this in there so you can take a look at it. It's, obviously there's many more than this. We just want to throw some up here just so you get an idea of who's used the smart valve before. So now I've kind of gone a lot over the smart valve and how it works, and that I've told you what the results are. I think now it's time for me to actually show them to you. And we put a few bills up here so you can get an idea. Here's an example of a customer in the Bronx. I believe this was an 1.5-inch valve. And if you look at his bill prior on the left-hand side there, he was paying $838 a quarter. Once he had the smart valve installed, that dropped down to $621. And we actually have a testimonial from him where he's averaged between 22 and 27% reduction every single quarter since he's gotten the smart valve put in back 2 years ago. So this was we like to show bills, and we like to keep, we like homeowners to be happy. And this gentleman's very happy. And as you can see from the bill, saving 26% is what we would call a great result. This is a product that very much is either a good, great, or extraordinary result. There really is no bad result with it. So he would fall into that great result. For the homeowners that are on the call, this is a water bill. It's actually a plumber who lives out in California and purchased one to put in his home. Had the full 90-day money-back guarantee, so I convinced him to purchase one and put it in his own home. His water bill reduced by 50% for the next 2 months after he put it in. And I had asked him, my first question was, this is very high. 50% is not a normal savings, and I don't want to exceed it, push out expectations here because that's a very rare case. So I asked him, I said, has anything changed in your home? Has somebody moved out? Have you changed something? Did you remove irrigation? Did you get rid of your pool? Anything along those lines? And he said to me, actually, his niece was staying with him during these 2 months that are shown here. So he expected the bill to be higher. But in reality, it went down almost 50% for those next 2 months. And he's continuing to save somewhere in the same ballpark. So this was a very telling case here. And I don't want to, again, I like to under-promise, over-deliver. So I don't want people to think you're going to save 50%, but I just want to show you that it is possible. Here's an example of two different office buildings that were smart valve was installed in Texas. One was a 6-inch, one was a 4-inch. Both of them saved in the high 30s once it was installed, and this was done over multiple months with some calculations. And by the way, we do have other testimonials and case studies online as well. If you don't see it here, we're just picking out a few to show you. But again, something like this, where you're saving 30%, which is what we call an extraordinary result, 30% or more. As you can see, and by the way, on the bottom right there, you can also see they had a 2-inch one installed for the irrigation, and they saved close to 40%. So, I mean, these are higher numbers for sure, but Most cases, even if you save 10%, you're looking at a very fast return on investment. And I had mentioned we had a 70% reduction at a property out in Michigan. Here's his actual water bills. As you can see, they were ranging between $10,000 and $14,000 a month for all the months prior, and then all of a sudden, November and December of last year, they dropped as low as $2,000 a month. Now, I've maintained contact with him, and these have come up a little bit. He didn't save 70% every single month, but again, it's not a normal result, but just to show you that it is possible that you might hit a home run and get what we call a super extraordinary result and save this much. So I just want you to see that there is even if, like I said, this was an extraordinary result, but we're happy to showcase it because it's just showing how possible it is. And after these 2 months, he basically had already made his money back in terms of the costs. So now, we build our business on great results and testimonials. So I want to also show you a few from people. This is from a plumber in New York and Brooklyn who has been dealing with us for about 3 years now. And as you can read through this here, you can see he's been installing both residential and commercial ones. This letter's a little dated. It's from about a year and a half ago. But as you can see, his customers have been averaging about 18%, and he's seen as high as 30% from the installations that they've put in. So he was very happy, and still is very happy, I should say. These testimonials, one's on the left there is from a engineer in New York City, in Manhattan, actually. As you can see, they had one installed in one of their buildings back in 2019. For the first 5 months of use, their average savings was 24.9% per month. He's been an engineer for 50 years, and after they had that one installed, they're looking at 9 other buildings to put it in. So as you can see here, he also, he actually provided an audit spreadsheet taken right off of the New York City Department of DEP website, and they compared it with his own numbers and showed that he was saving. They were saving about 24 to 25%. And on the right there is from a customer here in New Jersey where they've purchased about 11 smart valves from us, and they've seen savings between 14 and 26%. So again, consistency. Again, most people are in that 15 to 25% range. That's where everybody falls. And one of the things we'll talk about after is, as a company who is promoting a product like this, we want to see everybody save at least 15%. That's our goal, because when people save 15% or more, they talk very highly of the product. And our biggest marketing from our standpoint has been word of mouth, and being able for people to see these great results in their own bill and saving money, and then they tell other people about it. And that's how we grow our business. We want to grow it, organically, where people see the results, then they contact us, and then we move forward from there. And there's also other testimonials on the website as well, just to let you know. So this is a calculator that whether you're a homeowner, a property manager, or owner, or a plumber, and we start, working with the smart valve, you'll see this quite a bit. And what it is it basically breaks down the return on investment. As I mentioned before, if you're spending $10,000 a month now in water, sewer, in 15 years, you're going to be spending more like $15,000, $16,000 a month. And what we use this for is we break down your current situation. So whether you're a homeowner, or you own a property or manage a property, or you're a plumber who has a client that owns or manages a property, or is a homeowner, we use this tool to break down and show expectations. So again, the good, great, extraordinary results go for 10%, 20%, 30%. We always highlight the yellow because that's the most common result, is that yellow point right there. So you can see, though, if you're spending $120,000 a year and you save 10%, you're saving $12,000 today. But over the course of time, you're going to be saving more money because now your water sewer bill is going up. And if it just goes up what it's been averaging the last 10 years, you're ending up, your overall savings while the product's still in warranty is $150,000. So it was just very important for me to show that we do this evaluation. So whether you're a homeowner or business owner or a plumber, we do this evaluation for you so you can see it for yourself. and manage the expectations for your particular property. So we have a wide group on here today. We have people as far as Bermuda, as a matter of fact, on this call. But I wanted to break down everybody who's on for all the homeowners that are on today. What we are going to offer, and we're running some specials over the next few weeks, is, obviously, we can provide a free evaluation of your home to see if the smart valve is a solution. So what you would have to provide would be the size of your incoming line and your average water sewer bill per month. Obviously, this would only be usage charges. That's important as well. So when we do evaluations, we don't take into account fixed charges, because those are still going to remain there no matter what we do. Some states charge you a fixed sewer rate or a minimum rate or anything along those lines. So obviously the smart valve is not going to change that. You're always going to pay that no matter what your water sewer bill is. So, and all for your usage charges, that's how we would break down and do the evaluation for you. If you send us pictures in and around your water meter, we can help identify the best installation spot. Also, we partner with plumbers across the country. So if you're in, no matter where you are, whether, we have plumbers in Hawaii, Alaska, even overseas, usually there's a plumber somewhere within close by that we can recommend to you. If there's somebody, if you're looking to get an installation and you want somebody who's put these in before, we're happy to recommend a plumber for you. We're doing a discount off of our MSRP pricing for all purchases by the end of the month. And as I mentioned before, it's very important for us to make sure you're saving at least 15% or more. And if you're not, we want to troubleshoot it. We want to work with you on it. Sometimes it could be an adjustment of the valve. The adjustment's fairly simple, but we always want to fine tune it until you get at least a good result. We prefer great or extraordinary, but our goal is to make sure you're saving at least 15% or more, because if you're saving 15% or more, then we know it's working for you, and that you're going to have a very quick return on investment. So feel free to contact us for again, to purchase the valve. You also can go to our website online, getsmartvalve.com, and use our online store to purchase the residential valves as well. And also, by the way, just so you know, there is a drop down that you have to select. So if you're not sure for homeowners, if you're not sure what the pressure is coming to your house, you can always call the water company, and they'll be able to give you an average for your area. So if it's close to 45 psi, you might want to get a reading. If you don't have a gauge present, have somebody check what your pressure is coming in if it's close to that 45 psi mark. But like I said, usually most people are either, you'll know if your water pressure is low or high. So, if it's high pressure, you just double check to make sure. Select the standard valve, but if it's low pressure, make sure you select the below 45, the low flow valve when you go to purchase online. So for property managers and property owners, again, we also offer to you, the same as the homeowners, a free evaluation of your building to see if the smart valve is a solution. Again, we would need basic numbers, average water sewer cost per month, and what size line is coming into the property. And by the way, this is also for homeowners as well. We're extending through the 90-day money-back guarantee. We're extending to 120 days, just to give you more time to actually take a look at this, see your next water sewer bill, make sure it's working for you. And if it's not for some reason, look, that way we have some time to also help troubleshoot it with you. Because we've seen it in the past where the first result has been lower, maybe 9%, 10%. But after an adjustment or two, we've seen those jump up fairly quickly. So, we always want to give it time, so that way, we know it takes time to get it installed. And then you have to wait. You may be waiting, 70, 80 days to get your next bill. So we want to make sure you have time to actually see the result. And so we extend that money back guarantee to 120 days for you. As I mentioned, we also help identify the best installation spot, recommend or work with your plumber of choice for the installation. We are offering a discount for everybody on the webinar today on all purchases done by the end of September, which gives you some time to get things approved on at the corporate level. We have a deposit option also for property managers and owners, especially with COVID going on, with the epidemic, and we also know that you have board approval, so on and so forth. one of the things is to lock in the special pricing that we would do because you're on the webinar today. If you put down a 5% deposit before the 30th of September, we're able to lock in that pricing for you for the end of the year. So, 3-4 weeks from now, if you're in a position where you're going forward with it, but you're not going to do it towards till the end of the year or first of next year because of budget constraints, you can always put a 5% deposit down. It'll lock in the pricing for you till the end of the year, and then you can make the purchase at the end of the year, starting for next year's budget. So, and we also offer financing as well. That we are partnered with a third-party financing company. So if it's something you need to, finance, in a lot of cases, and we had customers finance both the sale of the valve, or the cost of the valve, and also the labor into a loan where their payment was actually lower per month than what they were saving. So it's a very good option for you. The other thing you want to look at as a property manager or owner is there is a code in the IRS called Section 179, which is relatively new, and not every business qualifies for it. So you have to check with your accountant, but it is something where if you make a purchase on the valve, normally in the past you'd have to spread that cost out over the time of the expected life period of the valve. This new law allows you to take 100% write-off of the cost of the valve in year one. So you don't have to spread that out anymore. You can get a full write-off for the cost of the valve, and in some cases, the cost of the labor as well. So now I would check, you have to check with your accountant. I don't want to speak for them because depending on how your business is classified, it could change, but it's something you should definitely look into if you're interested in purchasing a valve, because it's a nice tax deduction for you. So I would look into that as well. And obviously it's something that, as we go to speak to plumbers here, it's something you should mention to your customers also. Again, for the plumbers that are on the call today, obviously a free evaluation of any commercial customer. We do that for you. We also give you extend your 90-day money-back guarantee to 120 days. If you join the VIP program by the end of this month, we're going to give you a month free. So, depending on whether you're paying by quarterly or by yearly, which we can go into, it's a separate conversation. We're going to add a free month to you if you purchase on the annual plan. Any plumber who goes on today and purchases a valve by the end of this month gets automatically put into our Premier program, which I can discuss with you as well, as we have different programs for plumbers to partner up with us. And we're also offering a special truck stock deal through the end of the month where you get 3 3/4 inch and 1 1-inch valves for only $1,099.99. And that also puts you on the Premier membership. So again, for plumbers, it's we have different programs to help you be able to be in a better position to explain the smart valve to your customers and to market it to them. And we just provide support because we want to help you guys out and make sure that your customers are seeing and understanding what the smart valve does and help you be in a better position to explain it. So any plumber who's interested in partnering up with us on that, we're happy to walk you through that. So just give me a call and let me know how we can help you. And that's it for my presentation. Anybody have any questions, you can post them in the chat box and let me know what your thoughts were. Okay, so we had one. Actually, I got a message here about I guess somebody's on the phone and isn't on the actual webinar. The question I got via messenger here is, how often is the commercial return on investment less than a year? I would say probably at least 80% of the time. It depends if you're referring to the labor as well. For the valve itself, it's definitely less than a year, close to 100% of the time. But when you, again, labor varies in different regions of the country in terms of costs. And, some places do self-install these valves. So to answer your question, it would really depend on the situation. If you're talking about labor and outside labor, meaning third party, not being self-installed, as well as the cost of the valve, I would say it's definitely over 50% of commercial properties are seeing less than a year return on investment. So I would say almost over 100% of property, or not over 100%, but close to 100% of properties, 2 years or less for sure. So to answer that question, yes, it's very likely it'll be less than a year, even with the labor, but almost 100% certainty, less than 2 years for the valve and the labor for installation in commercial properties. Again, anybody who's in the online version of this, if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat bar in the bottom right hand corner there, and I'll give it a few minutes to see. Again, I'm getting offline messages here. They're not going into the chat bar. I assume that the chat bar is working, but I know some people are just on the phone call. In fact, I can also unmute your mics. Let's do that. Why don't we do this here? Okay, so everybody should be able to. Let's see if I can unmute everybody. All right, I'm just trying to find a way to unmute everybody if possible. And for some reason, it's not letting me do that. Okay, so we're gonna have to use the chat box here. I know a lot of you guys had called in, and I guess you're on the road, but it's not letting me unmute the mics for some reason. So I apologize for that. But all right, so first day trouble here with the webinar. So I apologize. Yeah. So those guys that are on the call that can't type in the chat because you're just on the phone, and you're not able to type in there. Just either email me or text me, or give us a call in the office. Right here on the last screen is our email address. Our phone number is there. Our website's there as well. On our website, there's also a link to the online store. If you go to our homepage, on the top bar there, you'll see across, it'll say store. If you click on that, it'll bring you to the online store, and you'll be able to purchase all smart valves up to 2-inch. We sell online. Anything larger, we process in-house via over the phone. So anybody else have any questions that's in the webinar that's able to type them in? And again, I apologize. I'm not sure why we can't unmute the mics here. It should be, I've never had this issue before, but feel free to definitely reach out and give us a call, and I'll be following up with a lot of you guys as well afterwards. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes. If anybody has any more questions, please let me know. Again, type it in the bottom box there. Let's see. Okay, let's see, I have another message here. Let's see, someone. Okay, well, it doesn't seem like we have any other questions. Definitely feel free to reach out to me if you think of something afterwards. Whether you're a homeowner, a property manager, or a plumber, we're here to support you guys and provide solutions to each unique situation. and all the plumbers that are online, I'm happy to have a discussion with you one-on-one to go into more detail exactly how we help you understand the smart valve so you can speak intelligently to your customers about it. So feel free to reach out to me, and a lot of you I will be following up with as well that have expressed some interest in learning about this product and how we help you to able to present that to other customers, to your customers. And so last, I'm gonna do one more second here. If anybody else has questions, please type them in the chat bar. Or again, I apologize for those on the phone call that are not in the actual meeting and just listening. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or concerns you have. So at this point, I'm going to end the meeting, and I appreciate everyone's time this morning.